Hello everybody, welcome back. So a few weeks ago, maybe about 3 weeks ago, something along those lines, I took a bit of a risk and a gamble by saying that I think something's going to happen with XVG. So at the time, because I don't look into the ins and outs of what cryptocurrency does exactly, I don't really know what it was. I didn't realise it had a whole scammy history about it, but I should have guessed when I saw the chart like this. But what I was mainly focused on was the chart formation in what appeared to be beginning an uptrend, in which I still think something particularly interesting is going to happen. So if we look at it on the daily here, first of all we'll go to the weekly. We'll have a look on the weekly because that's where it starts to get really interesting for me. So I've seen formations like this quite a few times, and what we look at and what we wait for is for this formation to essentially break out above this cloud, which is going to take a little while now, but on the weekly it does look like it wants to kind of push up above there. So it's been pretty bullish in the way that it broke above this center of this Bollinger Band. We've not really spent much time above there, but when we do get above there we do have these rallies. This one was, I suppose, a bit of a fake out, breaking down thereafter. This time it's been slow and steady and more promising. Now, we don't generally trade conversion baseline crosses that are beneath the cloud. I generally don't, but a lot of the time when we're looking at Satoshi pairings, especially ones that are so sad and sorry for themselves like this, any little help is better than anything. So we take it for what it's worth. We've got one of these back down here, which would kind of suggest that, okay, we might be starting an uptrend from this low level on the weekly. Now, weeklies do have more power than dailies, as in more the larger the move. So I am looking for a large move on this one, but when I've made that video a few weeks ago, I did say I'm not expecting anything from it quite soon. But it's kind of worked out okay. So the average area that I've been buying at was about 40 sats. So at the moment it's up, a decent amount, but it's not the move that I'm expecting. I am still expecting a much bigger move from XVG. And like I say, I realised shortly after posting that video that it's got a bit of a bad reputation and also a decent community out there. I imagine a lot of that community are holding on to it for dear life, and maybe quite significantly wrecked. Now, I'm not here to tell you that the sats are going to do a full retracement, but they are going to, in my opinion, probably push up towards 90 sats. That's my overall sort of target area, around about 90 sats to reach this area here, and then it might start to get really interesting. So we've got levels of rejection, resistance here. So we've got 1, 2, and 3. So we've broken above this one, tested it as support yesterday, and today we've broken above this one, which is pretty good, to be honest with you, and we've obviously got this one further to go. Now, if we look at this on the daily chart, the conversion baseline, the Ichimoku cloud doesn't really offer us anything, but we do have a golden cross back down here, and we dumped down into it and overshot that dump. Normally that's a bullish indication. When you get your golden cross, people get excited, go crazy on it, get killed, get wrecked, and then then we pick it up basically after that level. So that's basically what I was looking to do now, is to ride this one up, and I think this is where the trend really begins. So we've got the cross, the moving averages are diverging. Remember, this is on Satoshi pairings, alright? So a lot of sat pairs look pretty awful, and this one looks better than most. We've got the 200, we've got the 50, 20, 10, and a 7. They're all in the right place. You have a look at a lot of these charts, versing Bitcoin, they don't have a setup like this. So this is this posture for this chart is actually really good, because on my live streams we look at many charts. We spend 4 hours a week looking at charts on the live stream. When we look at the Satoshi pairings, we don't get setups like this. This is often above price action. So many of these altcoins versing their Satoshi pairings don't look even ready to even start an uptrend, whereas this one, technically, I believe at this point now has started an uptrend. Now, like I say, we have to have targets, and the targets are here, and now here. But in my opinion, once this one here is broken, we probably would look for a decent move up to 90 sats. So overall, we do have an uptrend in play. You could also probably argue that we do have an uptrend of rejection, almost like a channel, but the channel is not very neat. We do have an uptrend channel here, which could offer us another level of rejection. If we were to break all the way up to there today, that would be 70 sats. 90 sats would be complete at the end of here, and that would lead us up to the 11th of next month, so that's definitely a possibility. But again, we're not really looking at it like that. We're looking at areas that it's going to get rejected from. This is still in many ways a weak coin, because I imagine the fear is strong in this one. Now also, if we go back in time, I'm not saying this is anything to think about, but if we go back in time before it went parabolic, it generally traded around these zones anyway. This is its general area, this general vibe of trading around these zones. If we were to go and do a really big move, I am not talking about areas like this. I would be thinking more along the lines of around these zones here, around about 157 sats, 156 sats, maybe 140 sats, because this is before it went crazy, and I've since learned that a lot of this was pumped by what's that guy called? I can't remember his name. A bit of a scammy geezer. What's he called? I can't remember his name. But it wasn't an organic pump. And also, if you look at when it did pump, it pumped into 2018, 17, 18. So everything was pumping back then. But prior to that, we were topping out roughly around about 129 to around roughly 129 sats, 126 sats. So those would be areas of significant rejection, because prior to the crazy price action, that's where it was naturally trading at, and to reach 90 sats, I would say that the next level would probably be about 129 sats. And if we have a look at previous price action, 129 sats, do we have any kind of confluence on this chart around here? 129 sats, and we've got 143 here, support zones and rejection zones. So actually, yeah, 140 would probably be an absolute dream to achieve that, given the state of this chart and obviously what's taken place with it. That's very annoying. Why is that continuing to happen to me? So yeah, that would be probably my overall target, 150 to 149 sats, and that would be a big deal if we did get there. Because if we think about where we are at right now, if we moved all the way up to there, that's 136%, and this is versing Bitcoin, which means that could end up technically, depending on the price of Bitcoin at the time of this pump, if Bitcoin pumped as well and XVG pumped also, then we could be thinking of, in my understanding, that could be close to a full retrace of the dollar pairing. But maybe we'll have to wait and see. It's bit by bit, step by step, but I do like this chart, and I will take as much heat from the comments as possible. I don't mind. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong, but I do have to say that I am right the majority of the time, but I am not always right. So please don't take what I say as financial advice. This is something that I think I'm right on, and I'm obviously invested in it quite heavily now. And so I'm hoping for the best. So maybe my investment causes bias, but before I invested in this, I did think, and I still do think, that a retracement or a beginning of a decent uptrend is likely to continue now, and that would be my overall top target. To be honest, 149 sats would be an absolute dream. Anyway, I'm going to leave it with you there, but thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.